What's going on, everybody? It's your boy D from DNC Digital back with another episode of DNC Radio, and we got a special one today. I got a couple buddies with me, and we are going to be deliberating on the WWE Top 50 Tag Team list. So I got, of course, ladies first. I have Miss Ella J, hostess of the Wrestling Girl podcast, and now a contributing article writer, a contributing writer to WrestleZone.com. How you doing, Ella?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks so much for doing the show. And of course, I got my buddy that I love to argue with, Mr. Brian Davis.
What's up, D? How are you doing today?
Everything's good. So, first off, just quick rundowns, quick overall thoughts on the tag team list, Brian.
You know what? I'm gonna defer. I would like to hear your take on that, and then I'll bounce off of that one because I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
I was just I know I played devil's advocate for WWE, but I
was some humility at first. I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna preface it. But I was just enjoying watching the show since I'm such a big fan, and they had some they had the right people in there, and then there were some that again I was like, why are they in there? But again, we have to fill up 50 spots. So how about you, Ella?
Yeah, I think the top 5 was overall pretty solid. Again, as somebody who hasn't been watching wrestling for 50 years or whatever, there was some tag teams I was like, I don't know much about them, honestly. And then there were some teams I'm like, how are they that low on the list? But overall, the top 10 was pretty solid, I must say.
Awesome. So it's going to be Ella taking over the show. You are going to be our moderator, our peacekeeper. And you go ahead and just read off the list.
So just to have a background for it, WWE, obviously, this is the 50 greatest tag teams over the last 50 years. So they excluded some WCW teams like Harlem Heat and the Hollywood Blondes, which were mentioned later as honorable mentions. And according to Tyler Breeze and Fandango, which it's ironic now that they've hosted this show, but and now obviously things have changed. But the list was ranked based on title reigns, the longevity, and the cultural impact that these teams had. And so they obviously encouraged fans to use the hashtag WWE 50 Greatest Tag Teams. So we will start off then from 50 to 40. And number 50 are the Hall of Famers, the Bushwackers, Butch and Luke. 49 was Too Cool, which is Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Too Hottie. 48 was the Quebecers. 47 was the Smoking Guns. 46 was Strike Force. 45 was the Head Shrinkers. 44 was Kane and X-Pac. 43 was Batista and Ric Flair. 42 was Eminem, which was Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury with Melina. 41 was the Nasty Boys, and 40 was Rated RKO. So what are your thoughts, guys?
Go ahead, Brian.
I really don't have anything to say about the 50 to 40. I think that the Nasty Boys should have been higher on this list. When I'm looking at the following 20 or 30, so I don't know if I'd put certain teams that are gonna come in our next group of tag teams before the Nasty Boys. Rated RKO at 40 is kind of weird to me as well, but you know what? I mean, based off of what they are saying the criteria is for this top 50, I can let that ride. I'm not really gonna have an issue until we get more towards in the 20s. So I'm gonna let you. Yeah, I'm gonna let you take it from here, Dave.
If we're looking at spots, and certain spots, Batista and Ric Flair had 1 reign or 2 reigns as tag team champions, and they were forgettable. I can't remember any match that they had. Kane and X-Pac, I want to say yeah, because they were huge during the Attitude Era. Strike Force, these are all, I don't want to say that they're throwaway teams, but they're not
throwaway teams.
They're not the biggest teams in history. The Bushwackers, out of like sheer love and like they're just beloved in the old school wrestling fan. Too Cool was Too Cool, and they had some runs. Eminem were like crazy talented, but I guess I have nothing to say about these. Nasty Boys should have been up top. Uh, Rated RKO. Was it one reign, Ella? I know you were probably more versed around that time.
Yeah, only one or two reigns, maybe. And again, they really only lasted like 1 year.
I thought they were running for a WrestleMania match between them, but I digress. I have really, it's fine with me. This little spot is fine with me. What about you, Ella?
I mean, just I feel like biasly, I feel like Eminem should be a little bit higher than like a Jericho because they were together.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jericho right here is at 35, and obviously like Jericho was they were the unified tag team champions at one point, but longevity wise, Eminem I think had more cultural impact and were together longer. So I think Eminem should be slightly higher personally, because they were really popular, obviously, during the latter ruthless aggression era, like going into the PG era and all that stuff. But I mean, again, it's pretty fair so far. There are obviously some throwaway teams, as a lot of the teams that maybe people thought of couldn't be included. And I guess we'll get into that now because we're going strictly WWE teams. But they did mention some wrestlers and teams that were from outside of WWE. So I guess we'll talk about those and maybe where they would place on the list had they been included. So they listed the Outsiders, the Pitbulls, the Koloffs, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, Sting and Lex Luger, the Fabulous Freebirds. Yeah, for sure. If
Hell
this was
yeah.
a WWE list, the Fabulous Freebirds would absolutely be on this list. Same with like Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Hollywood Blondes, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and Harlem Heat. Like the Harlem Heat,
That entire
Fabulous
group could have taken up
Freebirds. Yeah,
taken away a bunch of
right?
seat fillers in this list.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you think then that, just say for example, it was like the Fabulous Freebirds or maybe like the Rock and Roll Express, they would definitely
Those
be
guys will be
like,
top 10, top 5.
yeah, that's what I would think too.
It
And
just gets
again
it just
though,
gets
yeah.
so difficult when it gets to top 10, top 5. There's so many tag teams that you want in there, but then
Yeah.
the criteria, and then it's WWE, so Vince is proofreading this list. What are the next 10 that we got?
So the next 10 from 39 to 30. 39 is Paul London and Brian Kendrick. 38 is DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano in NXT. 37 is World's Greatest Tag Team, which is Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. 36 is Money Inc., which is Ted DiBiase Sr. and Erwin R. Shyster. 35 is Jericho, like I mentioned. 34 is the Natural Disasters, which is Earthquake and Tugboat / Typhoon. 33 is the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. 32 is the Briscoe brothers, Jack and Gerald Briscoe, which I think they should be a bit higher personally.
Yeah.
But 31 is Harper and Rowan, and 30 is Owen Hart and the British Bulldog.
Before we talk about the tragedies that happened in this list, I wanna talk about how. Did you not know who the natural disasters are, Ella?
I did not know. Again, like,
Because I saw the look on your face, and they're one of my favorite tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
again, I only started watching wrestling 12 years ago, so I am assuming this was before my time.
When we did her podcast, a Wrestling Gal podcast, which you can find on all streaming platforms. We talked about the 50 women list, and man, when she was saying like how old she was, they got all that wrong. Except I mean that's a whole nother different conversation.
And we're gonna talk about that too.
I can send you the link of that episode that we did. But she was telling me, man, like how she started watching wrestling at this time, and we're just a bunch of old dudes, man. And we need to catch up with her. She's pretty successful in what she's doing right now. But when it comes to that little area, I keep forgetting like we're keeping the 10 separate. So when you mentioned how Eminem should take this spot above some other teams, you mentioned Jericho. There are a lot of spots that these teams should be in front of instead of these other guys. DIY, great tag team. No, they were. I love those guys. And NXT has like some of the best tag team wrestling I've seen in a long time. But that might be in comparison because they haven't really focused on tag team wrestling. London and Kendrick were, long running SmackDown tag team champions. The Briscoes should have been up higher. Bludgeon Brothers, I feel like they should be high. Like a lot of these teams, Money Inc. was the shit though. I
Yeah,
love
so
Money Inc.
I'm gonna yeah, I think in this group, that's gonna be my biggest problem is that Money Inc. is behind. Now, trust me, I love the Street Profits. I love them to
Right.
death. I do not think they should be ranked higher than Money Inc. And I honestly think that the natural disasters, being that I am an old fart just like UD. I love
Right.
them as well. I think they should be a little bit higher. But just the fact that the British Bulldog and Owen Hart, which was a great tag team, that they're only 3 in front of the Street Profits, it's a little bit off to me.
And you know, to talk about Bulldog and Owen, they were guys that were holding it down during the dark period of WWF. You know, like when they were talking about taking out the water coolers from the office, like there was no money being made. I'm binge watching all the Raws, and I'm in that area where Bulldog and Owen are having matches with who were those Canadian guys? Doug Furness, Philip LaFon, and they're just saving the show because you got a bunch of like matches, and then they come out. I just feel like this whole group rearrange it, but it should be higher on the list. Ella?
I think I agree too. Again, like much like the women's list, a lot of the people they list some NXT teams or like now currently main roster teams, and I think the Street Profits absolutely have the ability to grow as they keep improving themselves every year and keep outdoing themselves. So I think, yeah, maybe the Street Profits should be a little bit down, but they also have the opportunity to grow. And maybe if we were doing this 5 or 10 years from now, yeah, they absolutely can be higher. But again, like teams like Paul London and Brian Kendrick, who were a team for many, many years. Maybe it's because they weren't as flashy, or maybe because they're underrated is why they're at that spot. But like that Jericho thing is throwing me off. And again, they were great together, and like they were the champs when I basically started watching, but it's just throwing me off ahead of teams like DIY and like Paul London, Brian Kendrick, and Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. It's just throwing
Those
me
three teams
off.
that you just mentioned, though, those 3 teams that you just mentioned, I feel like maybe they can't do what Jericho does on the mic as far as
Maybe, yeah.
entertainment and selling a match, promos, and maybe the overall look. You know, Jericho is just
You know what? I might argue with that because DIY, they basically sold themselves. Like that whole story was fucking great to see.
The story was amazing.
And they made a whole fucking feud out of it. Like they made an ongoing feud that's even going on to this day over that. So I don't know. That one I might give you a little bit of pushback on, but you know, whatever.
But
I can't wait till we get higher to the list. It's gonna
Oh yeah, you're gonna hear the decibels rising in my voice as we're going on. You're gonna go.
There we go. So do we want to move forward then?
Yes, of course.
There we go. Do we want to move forward then?
Yes.
Okay. So 29 to 20. 29 is my guys, The Miz and John Morrison. 28 is The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus. 27 is Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane. 26 is Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. 25 is Los Guerreros. 24 is the APA, which I'm shocked that they're not a little bit higher, which is Bradshaw and Farouk. 23 is the Blackjacks. 22 is the Shield. 21 is D-Generation X, and 20 is the Undisputed Era. Now, this is where it's getting a little bit spicy for me.
Let's go.
But what about you guys? I have some thoughts about these, but
Brian,
go on,
is
Brian.
pacing back and forth. Yeah, Brian wants to talk.
I didn't have a problem with this until we got to APA. I would have liked to have seen higher if we're going off the criteria. I would have liked to see them higher. The Blackjacks, I'm fine with. All right, once we started explain to me how the Undisputed Era is before the Shield and DX. Can either one of you explain that to me?
Easily, because the Shield and DX factions at the core, sir.
Okay. And what's the number one? I know we're jumping ahead, but isn't the number one a faction as well?
They used the Freebird where we went. Okay, look, this is splitting.
I know I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's okay. Whoever got number one were a tag team throughout the like in its entire roster of those three men.
Okay.
Got number one. They are a tag team. They did the Freebird rule where, hey, Kofi, you and this guy, you and him go tonight, or me and him go tonight, or me and them go on Thursday. So the Shield, their only team was Rollins and Reigns.
Okay.
Because Ambrose was doing his U.S. title run.
All right. Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Even if you take what you just said, now listen, I hear you.
And
I love
DX
you.
wasn't even a team.
Hey, listen,
about
I love
Triple H
you.
and Shawn Michaels?
But we're all right. And there's two things to that. I love you, and I hear you. But even if you took Rollins and Reigns, who are arguably even today their top drawers, I still put them before the Undisputed Era. If you take Shawn Michaels, Triple H,
no.
I put them before the Undisputed Era. If you're going off of the criteria that they're basing this off of, which is what I was kind of a little bit foggy on, so I had to get that cleared up as to what was the basis.
Can we get a refresh? Can we get a refresher on
disaster?
The
Yes, longevity, title reigns, and the cultural impact they had were the ranking criteria.
Now tell me the Undisputed Era beat the Shield or DX in any one of those categories.
Longevity, cultural impact, title reigns. Yes, on title reigns. I would say in different eras, yes, on the cultural impact.
What are you talking about? The Shield was what? The pop for the Shield anytime they
look at Undisputed Era. Look at Undisputed Era.
Okay.
Do you know what? Do you know? Okay, you tell me which DX match you remember, as opposed to the Undisputed Era.
With just but we're not talking about matches. We're talking about cultural. We're talking about the criteria, right? So again, I don't want to deviate from what the criteria is, though, right? If we're going over the criteria that this atrocity of a list is based off of,
atrocity of a list,
then I don't need to tell you any matches because it doesn't make a difference. Am I wrong?
I just don't feel like. Are we doing Undisputed? Did they do Undisputed Era like entirely, like the whole faction?
Yes, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole.
Then I have to disagree with, because that goes against my logic, and I don't like being wrong when I talk to Brian.
I have to agree with Brian though on this one, and maybe it's just the bias that DX is my favorite tag team of all time, but the Shield and D-Generation X, again, Undisputed Era, obviously, I mean obviously now they're disbanded, but I think over time they can maybe be more appreciated, but DX and the Shield not top 20 feels
it's crazy,
criminal.
It
is
fucking wild,
criminal.
Oh, no. When it comes to spots, yes, I can agree with you on that. With them not being in the top 20, yes, because of everything that you guys just said. I totally understand that. I'm just now wondering why they put these factions in a tag team list. These factions that some members were tag team champions, but do you get what I'm saying? Like,
it should be noted for DX. It just says Shawn Michaels and Triple H. It doesn't say anything about Billy Gunn or X-Pac.
They made that clear.
Or Road Dogg. It just says Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
And so even with that, I'm still
even in the DX heyday, when DX first started, they hardly teamed up. It was only when they reunited, right?
No. I could be wrong, but
they had 97. Obviously, they were feuding for years. When Shawn came back, they were back together like 06, and then 08, 09, early 2010, they were back together as a team. Like oh my god, like 2006, 2009, them as a team alone, and then late 97, like that. Oh.
But I want to say late 97, they were just doing their singles things together. I don't think that they were having actual tag matches. But I mean, we can sit here all day about this.
I'm just passionate about them because they're my favorite.
It's all good. It's all good.
But yeah, any other thoughts rounding out this 20 to 30 in here?
This is a hard list. This is more difficult than the women's one.
I would disagree with you on that. This one they got, at least I can be objective and say they got a few right.
Yeah.
And just only a few wrong, but that women's list was fucking disgusting.
It was a tough list, that one. Ella had some feelings about it because
I did.
her
Ronda
favorite of all
Rousey at number
time is
9.
Thank you,
no,
Brian.
we
Ronda
talked about
Rousey
Ronda
at number
Rousey
9.
at length. That was
And,
just them trying to
and
get
trust
her to
me,
come back.
I have not seen the episode you guys are speaking of.
Yeah.
But Ronda Rousey at number 9, and I don't want to get off topic here, but that is just crazy.
No. We kind of put it up to like they're just trying to get her to come back. Like, hey, look what spot you got on our list. Don't have
and putting up a greatest 50s women's list is the only way you could think about doing that, where you're not pissing off the fans and pissing off the wrestlers.
They definitely pissed off the wrestlers and the fans.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't think of a better way of getting Ronda Rousey back in to be on your product. All right, whatever.
What spot did Mickie James get, Ella?
12.
She got 12.
12.
Ella J had the.
I studied that list. Like I can read this shit off. I studied that list. That was crazy.
Brian. Anyways, I digress. We would get heated again. I digress. Are you guys comfortable with moving on to 20 to 10?
Yes, ma'am.
Or we'll go 20 to 11 so we can officially have the top 10. But obviously 20 was the Undisputed Era. 19 was the Soul Patrol, Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. 18 was Mr. Fuji and Toru Tanaka. 17 was the Steiner Brothers. 16 was the Rock and Sock Connection. 15 was the Wild Samoans. 14 was the Rockers. 13 was the Mega Powers, which is Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. 12 is the Valiant Brothers. And 11 is Demolition.
Okay, Brian, cultural impact.
Cultural impact. Now see, this is where it gets a little bit hard for me.
Like I wouldn't want Rock and Sock, but I saw how
it's
important
getting, but I can understand why they're there. I don't know if I can think of a reason as to why they're ahead of the Steiners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can think of a reason why they're 2 behind the Rockers or 3 behind the Mega Powers. The Mega Powers actually, I don't know why they're at 13. I know that's going to be a hot take.
They didn't do it. They didn't have a tag team title reign.
They had no.
They didn't have one. That was a catalyst for that.
That was just a build up to their feud. There should be no reason why they're here. And even if you do put them on this list, there is no reason why they should be at number 13 ahead of some of these great tag teams that'll just boil your blood. Again, they're giving the criteria for what they put this list together, but it doesn't make sense. It's inconsistent. Inconsistent at best. So I don't understand it. Demolition not being in the top 10, I think, is weird to me as well. That's all that I got. I'm saving the big guns for this next round.
Ella?
Again, a lot of these are tag teams before my time, but even thinking about that, obviously Rock and Sock, everybody knows. Rockers, everybody knows. Mega Powers, again, maybe it's just because the cultural impact, in air quotes, that both of them had individually that they put them that they put them that high. And again, like you said, they never even had a proper reign, right? I think it'd be a different story. Imagine if the Mega Powers was ahead of Demolition. That would have caused like a fire.
That would have been a riot.
That would have caused a fire. The Rockers, though, the Rockers below the Mega Powers, when the Rockers were the ones who were the champs, and let me not before. Yeah, no. Again, it gets more spicy. Like the top 10, I feel like I'm more upset about the 20 to like 25 than these, honestly. Demolition, I agree, should be top 10. Mega Powers, how they're ahead of like the Rockers or DX or the Shield, or sorry, the Mega Powers ahead of like the Shield DX. I'm like, what?
I'd even put like the Bar above.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah,
the bar was great. The Bar.
Yeah, I meant to say something about that. I
totally skipped. I totally skipped it. I didn't even.
Yeah, the Bar at 28 is crazy to me.
Yeah, Mega Powers. I guess maybe the cultural impact line, maybe because they were just, part of one of the bigger stories in
Yeah.
history.
Is it not weird to anybody else that the Steiners are at 17, or is it just me?
I think what you are trying to accomplish is
Tell me.
Their entire career against
The
what they
longevity would fit into that criteria.
longevity
correct?
in WWE. Ella has shown us
They weren't.
that this
Yeah,
is
but
just
they weren't
a
really.
Vince McMahon proofread list.
I'm only basing it off of WWE. I don't even remember their if they
How long
were
were
even
they? How
around.
long were they in WWE? Because I just remember them doing other stuff rather than.
I don't remember because they've been around forever. I don't know how long their run was in WWE, but come on, it's a lot. I mean, whatever that answer is better than the fucking Mega Powers. How about that? Whatever answer that you're looking for is gonna be better than the reign of the Mega Powers. That's what I'm saying.
What reign?
What reign?
Yeah, exactly.
Before we move on to the top 10, I should note that there was also some notable female tag teams as well listed, which were the Bella Twins, the Kabuki Warriors, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, the Jumping Bomb Angels, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, the Glamour Girls, which is Judy Martin and Leilani Kai, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, The Way, and the Golden Role Models.
So I was gonna say this before you continue. Like, I hope to God that they do put a women's tag team list together, because if they don't, this is gonna be weird, because the Bellas can take some of these spots for me on this list. If you want to talk about the criteria that they have here, but I digress. I don't want to stop you guys.
I think we have problems with some of this list, and when it comes to the Bellas on my part, because the criteria doesn't involve like ring work. Not a fan.
That works for them.
I'm not a fan.
That works in their favor.
I know. Ella and I had a conversation.
If you're not if you're not basing this list off of in-ring work, the Bellas should be very high on this list.
All right.
Cultural impact too.
Cultural impact. I'll give you that.
Longevity.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that works in their favor if you do not use in-ring work as a part of the criteria here. The Bellas would blow some.
I guess I'm just not a fan. Go
ahead.
Nah, I'm not. I'm just not a fan of them. But I get the cultural impact. I see how many fans that they have, and I see their importance, and I get it. But I guess maybe I checked out around that time in professional wrestling.
How is Lay Cool not on this notable female tag?
They're not on there?
List? No, ahead of a new team of Ember and Shotzi. You don't have Lay Cool on here?
That's the thing. I feel like it's too new to try to put together a list.
It's too new.
Yeah, like Ember and Shotzi and The Way. Yeah, they're great.
The Street Profits are on this list. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but they've been out for like 4 years probably.
Yeah, the thing is, some of these teams just formed like
Ember and Shotzi was like
ago.
4 hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that, but I just think they need, if they're gonna have honorable mentions like that, they should just put a whole list together. Don't give me an honorable mention. Wait a month or two and then put out your own women's tag team list. I don't want them to be, because what that says to me is that they would be in here if they weren't women.
That goes back to what I said, that the honorable mention non-WWE teams easily take up spots on this list.
Yeah, they need to fix
Hollywood Blondes and then the Freebirds. Bro, Rock and Roll Express, easy, bro, easy.
But I think that's a little bit different here, because these women are actually part of the company. Like, you can't give them that out. They weren't they're part of the WWE.
Divas of Doom weren't on the honorable mentions too. I just thought of them.
Oh, you got to take Ember and Shotzi out, and you got to take The Way out and put in Lay Cool and Divas of Doom.
And even the Iconics too, I think. So if you guys were I guess
on, that's
yeah, right. If you guys were to theoretically rank your own women's tag teams list, who would be like your top 3 then of the past 50 years? Obviously.
Oh, this is a good question.
I've
never seen the Jumping Bomb Angels. I've never seen their work, but I've always read good things about them.
Yeah, same. Again, mine would be more skewed to probably modern era stuff too. But
Top 3.
That's that. I'm
I'll give you the Bellas. I'll give you the Bellas.
Oh, no, you give us the Bellas.
I'll give you the Bellas, but
I
they're
agree.
gonna be on.
No,
They're gonna be
no,
in
no,
top.
no. Don't give me the Bellas. They earned that shit.
Yeah.
Like they should be there.
Yeah. They earned it. I just don't like them. They earned it. I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm not saying that they're not as popular and important. I just not a
Listen,
fan.
I can take or leave their in-ring work as well. But when you want to talk about longevity, cultural impact, and all that stuff, you can't deny them. And I have to give credit where
Would you say role models are in that top 3?
Would they not? Then they should be number 1 in that too.
They
Because
were the like pandemic era, that PC era, when they were in like no fans at all. But before the Thunderdome era, like their stuff was good.
yeah.
Iconics were entertaining as hell. I love the Iconics. I felt bad that they were just left out entirely.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think the Bellas have to be number 1.
I give you Late Cool.
Regardless, or I think Late Cool would be 2 on my list, but and then I think me personally it'd be Divas of Doom, then Golden Role Models, then Iconics as top 5. But yeah, how they don't mention Divas of Doom, like the Iconics, Late Cool, but they mentioned some of their, and again, nothing to discredit the newer teams of Ember, Shotzi, and The Way. They're fantastic, but like going overall wise to spanning 50 years to not include some of those names that we said, and it's like, okay. But I digress. Brian's thinking.
Here we go. Brian's getting his angry speech together right now.
Not even. You know what? I'm not even going to do it. I just think that I could just tell you right now, number 1 would be the Bellas. Will be the Bellas. And when it gets to 2 and 3, I would just have a hard time putting a list together for my top 5, because I feel like I like certain wrestlers individually more than I like them in a tag team. And if we're going off of just the criteria, I would just need more than 5 minutes to think about that.
No problem.
Like that's a really good question. And honestly,
Ella's like, hit me on the DM. It's okay. It's fine.
I want to know.
No, honestly, I think that we should do something, to put our own list together. Fuck WWE. But
I mean,
that's his.
You could. There could be a whole nother separate episode, Brian.
There you go. All right.
We'll make our own list. Start a petition together. So yeah, that is just rounding out the honorable mention of women's tag teams, which weren't included on this official list for what I don't know why. But moving on to now the top 10 officially of the WWE 50 greatest tag teams of the last 50 years.
No, my seatbelt.
Number 10 was the British Bulldogs. Number 9 was the Brothers of Destruction. Number 8 was the New Age Outlaws. Number 7 was the Usos. Number 6 was the Legion of Doom. Number 5 was the Dudley Boys. 4 was Edge and Christian. Number 3 was the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jimmy Neidhart specifically.
Yep.
Number 2 was the Hardy Boys. And number 1, the WWE World Tag Team Champions. Well, former champions, the New Day. Brian's feeling some type of way.
I came on here calm because I had a few days to sit with this. But every time that I look at this top 10, it just fucks with me.
Okay.
To no end. I'm gonna save my take on the New Day being number 1. The New Age Outlaws in the top 10. I'm sorry, no.
You mean no?
So. No. New Age Outlaws.
What do you mean no?
The New Age Outlaws are in front of the fucking Road Warriors. Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't even
realize you were wearing the shirt.
Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? The Usos. All right. The Usos. I love the Usos. I love them to death. I love them. Can you name? And this is a question of both of you. Can you name the anything worth mentioning since they've been. When were you most captivated by the Usos? Do you know what storyline was
the
it?
New Day feud?
When was this?
Throughout the last like 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so them in the New Day, and that would be your answer as well. I take it that.
Pretty, yeah.
I think
I
you're
would
both
say
wrong.
so.
I think you're both wrong. I think you're both wrong. The best that they've looked is right now, with what they're doing right now in the WWE.
But I mean, as a team, though.
As a team.
As a team,
as
what
a
are they
team,
doing as a team? They're just right now. They're standing behind Roman Reigns.
All right, but that's the best that they look to me. That's the best that they've ever looked to me. And they're not even like they're together. They're not a team. That's the best. That's the best thing that they've done in this company since they've been here. Right? Why are they number 7? Why are they ahead of, in your eyes, New Age Outlaws, which you thought is they're properly placed, which is fucking bullshit? Why are they ahead? Why the fuck are they? Why are they one behind the Legion of Doom?
I keep forgetting that they're ahead of teams. I keep thinking of these 10 these brackets of 10 that we keep doing.
When I look at this list, that's glaring at me.
It's a fucking travesty, yeah, that they're ahead of like so and so and so and so. But I'm just saying, top 10 for New Age Outlaws on its own, that sentence by itself is correct to me.
The New Age Outlaws are ahead of Demolition.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Correct.
That's wrong. No, listen, I'm saying New Age Outlaws in top 10. That sentence by itself, that statement is correct to me.
No, it's not, because I don't put them.
It is.
I don't put them.
New Age Outlaws.
Bro, I do not put them ahead of the Brothers of Destruction.
I'm not talking about who they're ahead of.
No,
I'm just
what I'm saying is
them in the top 10.
No, but listen. There's only but so many people you can have in the top 10. You only have 10 in the top 10, right? If you think that the Usos, yes. All right, I'm telling you, I'm going to explain because obviously I have to. So if you feel as though it's a travesty that the Usos are ahead of Demolition, if you replace them, they're not in the fucking top 10.
I wouldn't replace. I would move Demolition ahead of the Outlaws in the top 10, but I keep the Outlaws in the top 10.
Okay, in front of who? The Usos.
Yeah, I want them in the top 10, but there are a lot of teams ahead of them.
I would put the Usos in front of the New Age Outlaws.
That's fair. I'll do that.
I don't think the New Age Outlaws. I don't think the New Age Outlaws deserve to be in the top 10. That's basically what
I believe so. It's just there's so many goddamn teams that I want in the top 10.
There's only room for 10, though, unfortunately.
There's only room for 10, as Brian eloquently
explained to you.
You can only get 10 in the top 10, bro.
This is fucking insane.
I don't think the New Day should be number 1. I wouldn't give New Day.
They need to be number 1.
That's a total Vince proof.
I don't mind it. Just put an asterisk next to their fucking name.
I got Edge and I got Edge and Christian. I got the Dudleys. I got Hart Foundation, Demolition. I'd put all those guys ahead of the New Day. The Outlaws.
No, I mean it, and again, this is what I had to battle with for the last couple of days. It's easy for us.
It's been eating him alive for 3 days.
It's been eating me alive, and honestly, this is the calm version. I told you, behind the scenes. Yeah, I told you behind the scenes. If we did this conversation a few days ago, I would have been all over the fucking place. But I've had some time to pull it in and get my focus. But I don't mind them being number 1 because of the criteria. And we always have to come back to that. What is the criteria?
The title reigns. They have like 18 title reigns now. That
they put this list together. If you want to go through any one of those 3 categories, no team on this list can beat the New Day.
Would you have British Bulldogs in the top 10? I love those guys, and their work is amazing. But
I think.
Would you say cultural impact because so many people emulate Dynamite Kid?
I don't think that cultural impact had as big of an impact that you would.
Well, it impacted Chris Benoit, so.
okay, but I don't know. I honestly, I would have to honestly just think about that if the British Bulldogs belong in the top 10. Listen, I'm fine with it. I would have to make a case as to why they're not, and I don't feel like
I wouldn't.
putting all my energy. I don't want to
back,
put all my energy into that.
Like
we have
Rock
so
and
much to talk
Sock.
about.
Rock and Sock, they don't need to be top 20. They were huge. They were over, but
DX
But-
and the Shield, how they're not top 20 is really
Dude,
beyond.
no,
me.
yes,
And
yes.
this is that was one of the things that I said to D behind the scenes. The Shield, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I know you want to say
I feel bad, but I do not know much of the work of the Valiant brothers and them having a very high spot. I apologize to any historians, but I do not know much. They wouldn't make my list, but that could be a whole travesty in itself.
Mm-hmm.
The lady of the hour, though, Ella, what do you think of the top 10?
Again, I think I've seen a lot of people say the Usos should be top 5. I think the top 10 overall, that's just what from Twitter.
That's what she heard. That's not what she's saying, Brian. Hold on.
Yeah, no. I understand. I heard her, but I did not hear that. That's crazy.
I think it's a solid top 10. I really think though I would swap Demolition and the New Age Outlaws though, and maybe bump up Brothers of Destruction one spot. And then the top 2, maybe it's just, I mean, I agree. New Day, Hardy Boys, Hart Foundation, Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, very solid top 5. Just me personally, I would swap Hardy Boys and New Day. Again, both are incredible. Both have had definitely the longevity, the title reigns, the cultural impact, I think, for sure. But I think New Day has more to offer. And maybe 5 years from now, New Day can be number 1. But maybe it's just because I'm obviously a Hardy girl. Maybe that's why I would put the Hardy Boys number 1. And maybe the Hardy Boys are number 2 because half of the tag teams in AEW right now, I've seen people say. So, I mean, again, it's a solid, I can't complain too much. It's honestly a solid top 10. I don't have as many qualms about it as I did for the women's list. So, I mean, overall, I think it's a solid, and again, you can interchange a lot of them, but I think like the top 11, I would say, are very, very solid.
I think I personally, I can make an argument for switching out any of these top 5 as number 1.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I can
yeah.
make an argument for the Dudleys to be number 1, or Edge and Christian to be number 1, Hart Foundation, Hardys, or the New Day to be number 1. So I'm not mad.
Where would you put Legion of Doom? Okay, that's what I'm saying. Would you
put them as number 1? I would put them as number 1 as my personal top 50. I would have my own different set of criteria, but if we're and again, I don't want to just fall off the path here. If I'm going off of this list, I still would have them in my top 5. But when it comes to the longevity, the title reigns, the cultural impact, I can understand why they're not on this list, but on my list, they would definitely be number 1.
And that does it. Those were the top 50 tag teams according to WWE and only WWE.
Wait, I'm sorry, D. I don't want to cut you off. Where would you put it? No, fuck that. Where would you put the Legion of Doom?
Top 3.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But the thing is, like, I can only put 3 in the top 3.
Only 3?
I can only put 3, and there's so many.
Gosh,
there's so
math is
I need
so
like
restricting.
1.4, 1.5, 1.8. There's so many damn like teams, bro, that are deserving. Like, it's just spots on this list of teams that either should not be on the list entirely or should be higher, or compared to the rest of the list should be ahead of other people. But a lot of it comes with miseducation also. For example, Valiant Brothers beat out a bunch of teams. I honestly don't know who they are, and I feel bad saying that, but that's what it is.
Sorry to interrupt your outro.
Yo, go ahead.
No, I said
no.
Sorry to
no. I mean,
but
going over the list.
I just wanted to hear you say where the
Legion of Doom would be.
Yes,
yeah,
I needed to hear that. Yeah,
and I like that they touched on their AWA, NWA stuff too. because that deserves to be spotlighted. There are a lot of teams on this list that I wouldn't put here. I feel like they're seat fillers, but we're doing WWE only. And like I said, Freebirds, Midnight Express, um, so many other teams on that honorable mention list. They should have just put it in there. They own the libraries. They own these other companies. Just put them all in there. Doesn't need
Make our own.
like Harlem Heat. They
What,
own
like I said,
a
let's
bunch
make
of
your own.
people.
Let's make your own.
Oh, we're gonna argue even more.
And you know what? That's what I'm here for, dude.
I know you like to argue.
Absolutely. Just
But
you.
that'll be it for the top 50 tag teams in WWE according to WWE. You guys put in the comments what you guys would have done with this list if you feel like there are undeserving teams like we do, or if you feel like some teams deserve to be in a higher spot. Make sure you put it in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank our moderator, our peacekeeper, Miss Ella J. Ella J, you can find her on a Wrestling Gal podcast on all the streaming platforms, as well as new articles on WrestleZone.com. Miss Ella, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a true pleasure and very nice to meet you too, Brian.
You as well. Nice to meet you.
Brian
Thank
is
you
still seething.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm back. I'm back at all the way back at level 10 right now. But thank you, Ella, for putting up with our shit today. I appreciate it.
You're good. It's entertaining for the folks. That's really what they're here for. The great debate, you know?
That's right. Ella, where can they find you on social media and all your streaming platforms?
How much time you got? Just kidding. You can follow me personally on Twitter at It's Ella J, and you can follow a Wrestling Gal podcast on Twitter and Instagram at a Wrestling Gal. And like Dee said, you can listen to basically anywhere you find your podcast on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, etc. I am also the editor of Gaw TV's Gawcast, which again you can listen to on any of your major podcasting platforms.
Awesome. You guys make sure to check her out. She's a very, very talented young lady, and she is going places, and I'm very, very happy for her. All her links are going to be in the description. This is D. You can find me at DNC Digital on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. For my buddy Brian, for Ella, this is D. You guys have a good night and take care of yourselves.